Part 54. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 531. Time passed extremely fast, and half a year passed in the blink of an eye. Under the dual action of the Great Defense Array and the large number of cultivated devil-devouring plants, the air of Lingzhou could no longer feel the threat of devil energy. The great formation of protecting the city has entered into silence again. The half-elixir that was put into it has been used up, but these monks who stayed in Lingzhou have enjoyed the aura bathing for such a long time, and they have gained a lot. The lower the cultivation, the better. Feeling reborn, aware of this benefit, some monks from other states specially brought some juniors to Lingzhou. In Guyao's intentional or unintentional disclosure, they also learned why the Great Array had such an effect, and reaffirmed that Dan Immortal specially left this Great Array and the half-immortal pill, because they foresaw the catastrophe that Lingzhou would face in many years, and Dan Immortal really did. It is Dan Immortal, such a big catastrophe can be solved so easily, but the descendants are too far behind. While admiring and regretting, I feel that it would be too wasteful to use these half-elixir in the Great Formation, but it is useless for them to give birth to the half-elixir. Of course, the formation master who arranged this great formation back then was also extraordinary, and was able to use the formation technique to keep the medicinal power of these medicine pills from volatilizing over time. Half a year later, Lingzhou can no longer see the appearance of the catastrophe before. If it weren't for the changes in Lingzhou, people would mistakenly think that all the things that happened half a year ago happened in a dream. In the restaurant, several young alchemists were drinking wine with depressing expressions. Before the catastrophe, they should be in high spirits. What is that surnamed Guyao doing? Elder Xiang is also true. Why do you push such a person into the position of the leader of the Alchemy Alliance? He is an alchemist from another state. Can he have his heart towards our Lingzhou? Recently, one by one the actions are not all biased towards foreigners, and there are more and more strange faces in Dangxian City recently. That is, not only did he sit in the position of the leader of the alliance, but he also installed nearly half of the alchemists from other states in the elders of the Alchemy Alliance. The alchemy skills of those alchemists from other states, even our third-rank alchemists in Lingzhou. It can't be compared. Why can you become the elder of the Alchemy Alliance? The surnamed Gu deliberately wants to draw those second-rank alchemists to stand on his side. The surnamed Gu used to have a good relationship with Pavilion Master Wen of Giwen Pavilion. Of course, he had to support his own people first. He said it so righteously, not for his own benefit. Have you heard that when the Elder Council is officially stabilized, they will start to open the Pill Pavilion, not to the elders and their Pill Pavilion forces, but the real Pill Pavilion, which was brought out of Lingzhou by the trader Su Chen back then. The most important treasure of alchemy, all the alchemy techniques in the world are gathered in the Alchemy Pavilion, including the alchemy elixirs that have been lost in our Lingzhou over the years. What? Does he have to open the Pill Pavilion to foreigners? No one protests against his actions. Why should foreigners enjoy this benefit? In the end, the monk threw the wine glass to the ground angrily, and the wine glass was broken into pieces, because they knew, what is the root of Lingzhou? That is the best alchemy technique passed down by Senior Dangxian. These alchemy techniques have been learned by alchemists from other states, and their advantages will continue to be lost. Even now, a lot of alchemists from other states have come, and they have even entered the Alchemy Alliance to take power, but the disciples of the great faction are still proud. Which alchemy technique of these alchemists from other states can surpass them? It is that Guyao, who has not obtained the inheritance of Pill Immortal. But now, what they are proud of is also being taken away. How can someone with the surname Gu? One by one, they were filled with righteous indignation and wanted to kill the Dan League to protest. They should unite and stick to their bottom line and cannot be violated. But the next moment, the door of the box was kicked open with a bang, and the door panel was also torn apart in an instant, and the fragments flew. The screams were all stuck in his throat. Lei Hu strode in, forcing the alchemists to step back, but there was a window behind them, so they had to jump out. Along with Lei Hu were Fatty Tianfirong and the others, who happened to be drinking and chatting in this restaurant when they heard someone slamming Guyao next door. Hey, it's just a few 4th grade and 5th grade alchemists. They are not too timid. They dare to criticize the leader of the Alchemy Alliance. Why, don't you think that you are talented? Are you afraid of being surpassed by other alchemists? You. The alchemist, whose face turned pale with fright, still wanted to argue. What are you? Lei Hu glared at him, very fierce. Besides, the pill pavilion is something that Gu alchemist is willing to share, and the ancient alchemist is unwilling to share. Even you Lingzhou alchemists are not willing to share. Don't even want to take a look at it. Now everyone is taking the things of the ancient alchemist as their own, and they want to be the master for the ancient alchemist. I am really laughing to death. It's so stupid. Except for Lei Hu's rumbling laughter, other people can laugh out loud. However, many diners downstairs heard it clearly, but many people laughed. Lei Hu said these things, you can talk sugar. Not rude. Gu alchemist is unwilling to take it out, who can force it? Gu alchemist can show it to anyone who is willing to show it, and if he is not convinced, he can let Senior Dan Immortal inherit the alchemy technique. In particular, the monks from other states have a lot of respect for Guyao, and whoever wants to belittle Guyao must pass them first. When these alchemists came downstairs in despair, they were pointed and laughed at by many people. Those few were embarrassed and annoyed, and they hated Lei Hu's big mouth. In Lingzhou, he beat up a lot of people in the past 6 months, but he is so powerful that everyone can't do anything about him. In fact, in the final analysis, this guy is just taking the opportunity to seek revenge against them. He is too cautious. Didn't the Alchemy Alliance have been initiated by the Alliance leader and sent a 1st-grade medicinal pill to Fengleiji Unshuang? It's a pity, Lei Hu put all this love on Guyao. Originally, he wanted to wait for Guyao to advance to the 2nd-rank alchemy master, and he might be able to refine the medicinal pills his master needs. The speed of Yao's promotion shouldn't make him wait too long. I didn't expect that when Guyao gradually became the leader of the alliance, he asked the alchemist in the Alchemy Alliance to make it, so Lei Hu became Guyao's brain-dead fan. Lei Hu and Fatty Tianfirong also came downstairs, and the monks downstairs greeted them one after another. Now the identities of Tianfirong and Fatty are also rising. Who doesn't know, these two are good brothers of the alliance leader, even the business of the Jinshikshuan store is also booming. The 3 of them were walking on the street, and Lei Hu said with emotion, there are more and more people in Dangxian City, and it's almost time for the previous Donsha competition. Fatty nodded and said, no, it's not for the spiritual energy in Dangxian City. Although the big formation has been closed, the medicinal power of the half-elixir has passed away long ago, but the spiritual energy here has been baptized and is purer than other places. Up to now so far, the functions of this half-elixir that I have heard of are almost hundreds, and the number of people who can believe it is still increasing. Those monks outside really regard Lingzhou as a treasure land of immortal mountains. They feel that they can take a breath of these auras and become immortals, but the ghost knows that those monks who were first baptized by the aura only increased their cultivation by a lot. It was only a small order. Of course, it was later discovered that their physiques had become much purer, and there was not much erysipelas left in the pills that they often take. The future cultivation of these monks will definitely be smoother than they were before. But it's been half a year, how much of the aura is left here? However, it has set off a wave of chasing after the senior Dangxian. The 3 of them laughed and walked away, and a female cultivator walked out of the corner behind, looking at the backs of the 3, especially Tianfirong and Fatty, with endless regret in their complicated eyes. In fact, Tianfirong and Fatty had already found out that someone was watching them from behind. Lei Hu also sent a voice to ask if he wanted to teach the monk a lesson for them. In Lei Hu's eyes, there is no distinction between men and women. Most of the repairs are that they have to show mercy to them, and they are the ones who suffer. This person is Du Tong Tong. Tian Firong and Fatty are too lazy to be this woman. Today is different from the past. Their status with Du Tong Tong, the eldest lady of the Du family, is just reversed. The two felt that Du Tong Tong was very lucky. The Du family's Lingzi garden was destroyed, and Du's father was demonized. Actually, this Du Tong Tong escaped, but the Du family no longer existed, and the Du family's power had also dispersed, and she was alone. A monk whose cultivation base is not high and whose alchemy is average can live a better life. Later, under the baptism of the spiritual light, the magic energy of the Du family's Lingzi garden continued to recede, and it was gradually recovering, but Du Tong Tong was gone, so how could Du Tong Tong save the large Lingzi garden? The lord of the city dedicated to Tian Firong and Fatty, the two bosses of Jin Shixuan, which could be regarded as hitting Du Tong Tong in the face, but she couldn't do anything. The reason why it was given to Tian Firong and Fatty was that the city owner also knew what the Du family had done secretly at the time, and sent someone to rob Tian Firong to take away the strange fire from him, but unfortunately it failed. Dare to do so? Tian Firong and Fatty were better. They took this Lingzi garden and gave it to Guyao. Guyao was directly placed under the name of Danmen. The two of them are not greedy, they manage Jin Shixuan well, and they have no shortage of spiritual stone flowers. Du Tong Tong's whole heart was almost swallowed by remorse. How could she be so blind in the first place and let go of Tian Firong's huge potential stock? In just 1 year, she fell from heaven to hell. Now Tian Firong, everyone knows that he is the good brother of the alliance leader, there are countless monks who want to get close to him, and it will only become more and more popular in the future. Alliance leader, who would have thought that Guyao, who was only a fit and cultivated, came here just to participate in the pill art competition, and would become the person with the highest status in this Lingzhou. And her Du family's original behavior was also exposed. Du's father died, and Du Tong Tong was yelled and beaten wherever she went, and she became a mouse crossing the street. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 532. Although Guyao left a lot of things to the elders to do, he was still busy. Who let him want to change too many things, so if he wanted to be lazy, he would have to spend more time. Fortunately, the elders from other states are more active than Guyao, because they know that if these measures are implemented, their alchemists from other states will benefit even more, but they cannot be let down in the middle. Guyao originally thought that he had to reach the pinnacle of the spiritual world before he could have the opportunity to implement his ideas. However, due to fate, he started in Lingzhou. Although it was a bit difficult to start, who made Pill Pavilion fully recognize him as the master? He can kick out the alchemist who entered the alchemy pavilion with a single thought, and even dominate their lives. However, the real Pill Pavilion is still in his sea of consciousness, and what remains in the Pill Immortal Relic Palace is a replica of the Pill Pavilion, or a projection, and the collections that appear in the projection are also under the control of the ancient remote. Although the Pill Pavilion is open to the outside world, it is not completely unlimited. In addition to testing the pill technique, a threshold has been set up after the consultation of the Pill Alliance Elder Council, that is, the contribution value to the Pill Alliance. It took several months for the elders to get the contribution value, and there was a fierce debate. They were all second-rank alchemists, and they almost picked up their sleeves and fought to decide who would win or lose. The elders of Lingzhou hope to gain more benefits for the monks in the state, and the elders from other states also want to gain as many benefits as possible for the alchemists from other states. In fact, after leaving such a decision to the Presbyterian Council, Guyao doesn't care about it in most cases. Just look at the final result and pull the alchemist from other states into the Presbyterian Council. If they don't fight for it themselves, then Guyao will do more. The work is meaningless, and at the same time, The enthusiasm of the elders in this state cannot be attacked too thoroughly and needs to be maintained. Guyao felt that it was the most ideal state for the two sides to compete in this way, and it would be better to be impartial. Speaking of local protectionism, which state doesn't exist? It is not unique to Lingzhou, so local alchemists in Lingzhou also need proper support. The headquarters of the Dan League is the first step. When the time is right, we can develop branches of the Dan League in various states, and drive the development of the alchemy techniques in each state. Guyao stated his intentions, which made everyone realize that he was planning a great deal, and also let the local elders of Lingzhou gradually accept his ideas. On the premise that the leader cannot be changed, then try to follow his route as much as possible. Maybe it is true after letting the Alchemy Alliance out of Lingzhou, they will find that the world of the Alchemy Alliance has become wider. In order to reverse the idea that the local alchemists are too self-confident, Guyao organized many great discussions on alchemy techniques, gathering alchemists from various states to exchange alchemy techniques. The alchemy technique is not as bad as they thought. Although the overall alchemy technique is not as good as Lingzhou's, it has its merits in some respects. When these kinds of techniques are combined, the results will become very amazing. Their benefits are also huge. During this period of communication, Guyao's own harvest was not small, and he went to retreat and study with great interest, leaving a group of elders depressed, thinking that the leader of the alliance was too irresponsible, so he turned to look for Qi Changjai. Qi Changjai wiped the sword in his hand, just finished practicing the sword, listening to the complaints to the elders and the others, said. Xiaoao trusts you, this is not what you hoped for most at the beginning. I believe that through your efforts, in the future, no matter whether it is in Lingzhou or the states of the spiritual world, alchemy will flourish. This is a good thing, everyone's the merit will be not small. Xiang Elder and the others twitched their mouths. They shouldn't have come to Qi Changjai, a different sword cultivator. They thought he could supervise the leader of the alliance. Don't let them take power in the end, but now it seems that Qi Changjai seems like it would be nice to see this. Elder Xiang and the others could only bow their heads and return without success. Xia Yuans came out from another direction, looked at the backs of these alchemists leaving, and joked. They are so worried about the ancient alchemist. A faint look of pride appeared on Qi Changjai's face. They have tested it, and they should know that Xiaoao does not have the kind of power and authority they think. In fact, if someone is willing to really implement Xiaoao's idea, he doesn't mind this. The position of the alliance leader was handed over, and it was originally pushed up by them. For example, the local elders such as Elder Xiang, although they do feel that Guyao is lazy by pushing things down, but there are many people who come with the heart of temptation. Guyao's cultivation base is still low now, and he can wait until he grows to the second rank or even the first rank pill. When he was a teacher, could the elders here still suppress him? At that time, he will act alone, and no one will take him helplessly. People are all selfish. It's a pity that Guyao is not as good at playing tricks as they think, so he just waits for everything to go on the right track and completely decentralizes power. Fortunately, the big framework has been pulled up now, and the alchemist of Lingzhou wants to return to the one before the catastrophe. The situation is very difficult. The forces of the states will unite to stop them. The current situation is welcomed by the states of the spiritual world. They are the most powerful backstage behind Guyao. Xia Yuans couldn't bear to see Qi Changjai's proud face of a Taoist companion. He turned his face and twitched the corners of his mouth. Is there a great Taoist companion? It seems that there is a Taoist companion like Gu Alchemist, which is really amazing, so he also wants to find a like-minded Taoist companion to practice swordsmanship and talk about love and so on. The complaints of local alchemists have been decreasing as time goes by, because as foreign alchemists grew up after coming to Lingzhou, they felt the pressure, so some alchemists rushed to catch up and spent more time it is used to practice and study alchemy, not useless complaints. Therefore, after a few years, Lingzhou not only gradually recovered its original prosperity, but also became more prosperous and full of endless vitality on the original basis. The monks of the middle and lower classes are also increasingly accepting monks from other states, which not only makes Lingzhou prosperous again, but also brings the specialties of each state, and their food, clothing, housing, and transportation have become much richer than before. Another alchemy contest kicked off in Dangxian City. The cultivators who came from various states were about to burst Dangxian City. This place not only became a real alchemy holy place in the minds of monks from various states in the spiritual world, but also the business became more and more prosperous. Almost every major commercial bank has a presence in Dangxian City. On the streets, you can also see many demon cultivators who have hardly appeared in Lingzhou before, such as those from the Penguin and White Bear clan, such as the demon cultivators from the Silver Wolf clan and the Fox clan, and Bai Binkan flying from high altitude, so beautiful. The creatures caused countless cultivators to look up at the sky with their heads raised. It was a miracle for Lingzhou. When these demon cultivators who had little contact with Lingzhou showed up in Dangxian City, the elders and the high-level alchemy forces were only able to do so. Realizing that Gu Yao, an alchemist, seems to have gathered a force that should not be underestimated. To be honest, when the Silver Patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan in Qinhao continent came to greet them with the patriarch of their clan in the spiritual world, Gu Yao and Qi Changjai were also very surprised, but they also expressed a warm welcome. In the past, those friends came one after another. When they arrived in the spiritual world, they seemed to be in good shape, and the two of them were happy for these old friends. To say that Yin Ting, the patriarch of Yin, was also very surprised. He went all the way from Ganhao continent to Wanluo continent, and then came to this spiritual world. When Gu Yao, who was famous in the spiritual world, confirmed again and again that this was the Gu Yao he knew in Qinhao continent and his Taoist companion was Qi Changjai, Yin Ti still felt incredible. At first, he thought he had overestimated these two young people, but the growth rate is still far beyond his expectations, too fast. Many demon cultivators have long lifespans. The growth rate of these two people can be described in this way. It's just that after a sleep, they wake up outside and they don't recognize the world upside down. At the beginning, Yinti was the patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan in Ganhao continent, and when he went to Wanluo continent, his status was not low among demon cultivators. However, after coming to the spiritual world, even if his bloodline was good, his cultivation base was too low, and it was difficult for him to be top-notch. If you can bury your head in cultivation, you will have the right to speak when your cultivation level rises. This time, he has been valued by the clan, and he was able to come to Dangxian City with the clan chief, thanks to the old friendship with Gu Yaokai and Changjai. The Silver Wolf clan also needed medicinal pills, but in the past they were unwilling to be exploited by Lingzhou, so they did not want to interact with them. How is Xiaoun? Gu Yao didn't forget the little silver clan he rescued at the beginning. Yin Tai laughed, okay, he is very good. When I left Qinhao continent, he had already taken over the position of the patriarch of the Silver Wolf clan, and he has grown into a powerful silver wolf. That's good. Upstairs in the wife's wife Liuguang Trading Company, a very good-looking couple stood by the window, smiling and looking at the lively scenery outside. The leader of the alliance is really amazing. He has recovered and developed Dangxian City to such a level in a short period of time. When he was first pushed to this position, there must be many people waiting to see his jokes. Madam is right, the leader of the alliance is indeed a strange person. Although the lady was treated by the elders of the Dan League, in Liu's mind, the leader of the alliance is our real savior. This couple is Liuguang Trading Company. The owner and his wife, Gu Yao, has never forgotten to promise Lu Xiao's owner, but because of the Dan alliance, he can't get away to go this trip, and Qi Changjai doesn't worry that he leaves the Dangxian City range, although he sits on it. The position of the leader of the alliance, but there are countless monks staring at the pill pavilion in his hand. In this world, there are those who are grateful to Guyao, and there are even those who covet the treasures in his hands. Later, Guyao came to Lu Xiao's owner, and negotiated a strategy, that is, let the owner of the Liuguang business send his wife over, and Guyao called the elders of the Khitan League to consult together, which is more effective than his own consultation. The Xiaodong family has nothing to do, because in the past, it was very difficult to ask one of the elders to take action. Now that there are so many elders to take action together, it is a great opportunity that falls from the sky. It was called a consultation, but it was actually a big exchange of alchemy techniques. After a few times, the elders also liked this brainstorming discussion about cutting reefs. Because they clearly felt the progress of their alchemy techniques, they treated Lu. The situation of the lady is also very positive. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 533. Why did Mrs. Lu fall into a coma and couldn't wake up, or there is a conclusion from Pavilion Master Wen. Pavilion Master Wen encountered a similar situation when he was practicing outside the calendar in his early years. Before that, one was revealed and the other was hidden, and the hidden bloodline gradually became aroused as the cultivation base continued to rise. Finally, when Madame Lu broke through and the original bloodline became stronger, if this source was not solved, Madame Lu would fall asleep forever. The situation that Pavilion Master Wen encountered in the past happened to Yao Xiu. Although Mrs. Lu is a human-beast hybrid, she is biased towards human blood. Two types of monster bloodlines compete with each other in Renqiu. This is the first time I have seen it. He also dared to draw a conclusion after confirming it several times. Going back to the source, the Lu family found that his wife's bloodline was indeed the same. His wife was not a pure human race. There was a demon cultivator on his lap, and there were more than one demon cultivator. The lineage is indeed very mixed. After finding the crux of the problem, it would be much easier to rescue Mrs. Lu, so after a year of consultation, Mrs. Lu woke up, and Master Lu and young Master Lu cried with joy on the spot. This also made Guyao realize that compared to the experienced seniors, his experience was a lot shallower, and at the same time, it also improved the status of the elders of the outer state alchemists in the Alchemy Alliance. Now that the couple saw that Dangxian city was so prosperous, they were also happy for Guyao. Guyao also received a satisfactory reward, and he closed the pen in the long night. A flash of inspiration flashed, and a new magic talisman took shape under his pen. Success, Guyao leaned over and asked. Qi Changjai put down the talisman, sensed it, and said with a smile, "It should be done." When I first drew it, I felt that it was in good shape. This air-splitting talisman was successfully made, and I feel that my understanding of space has been enhanced a lot than before. He is most envious of where Master Su wants to go, and he just splits the space and passes through the void. In fact, he has been working hard in this area over the years, and he has repeatedly achieved results, but he always feels that he is missing the last step. The method of making talismans is making up for this last kick for him. After trying to figure out a lot of time and wasting a lot of talisman paper, I finally succeeded today. When I got the jade slip at Tianfu College, I was struck by the sword technique that split the space with the sword in the jade slip. Later, when I was sent to the island by Su Su, I observed the space storm outside the state, which was also very touching. Back, it's more like all kinds of experiences have been sublimated. That's great. Guyao was happy for Qi Changjai. Leader, the alchemy game is about to start. Someone from the Alchemy Alliance came to inform Guyao. Come here, here we come. Guyao replied hurriedly, and went to attend the opening of the alchemy competition with Qi Changjai to cheer for the participating alchemists. The two joined forces to come to the central square. Before, Guyao participated as a contestant, but this time, he presided over the opening as the leader of the alliance. The change of identity before and after made the participants feel full of emotion. Back then, the various alchemy forces in Lingzhou pushed Guyao to the position of the leader of the alliance. The intention was to let him block the gun for Lingzhou. In their opinion, when this development period is over, Guyao will return to his original position. No matter what position, Lingzhou is still theirs. There is no power to shake the status of Lingzhou. Guyao, a cultivator, is not qualified to press on them. It just turned out to be the opposite. Guyao was not as authoritarian as they thought. When Guyao brought the alchemists from other states into the Presbyterian Church, and when Guyao let go of Lingzhou's business and let the other states join in, they found that they took a step back. Gone are their good times. They gritted their teeth with hatred for Guyao, but now even pulling Guyao from that position would not help. The outer state alchemists had already established a firm foothold in the Alchemy Alliance. They didn't just kick out if they wanted to, and through the Alchemy Pavilion, the alchemy skills of these alchemy elders from other states have improved rapidly in just a few years, and the advantages of Lingzhou alchemists in alchemy will continue to decrease in the future. A catastrophe was devastating to them. Those from other states and those young alchemists responded with warm applause and cheers to Guyao's arrival. The younger the alchemist, the stronger the worship of Guyao. Think about how Guyao has come this way. How inspiring for them, and Guyao broke Lingzhou's monopoly on alchemy, giving them the opportunity to come into contact with more advanced alchemy. Look at the handsome leader of the alliance, Duo Fengshen, but why can't you think of finding a rude sword cultivator? There is no way for the sword cultivator to discuss the quality of alchemy with our leader Harika. When his eyes shifted to the face of the person next to him, his face darkened. Haha, even if the leader doesn't ask Senior Qi to be a Taoist companion, it won't be your turn. There are many alchemists who like our leader. Look at Elder Wen, how gentle and refined. I think standing with our leader is also compatible. Very. Bah. You alchemists will be daydreaming. What's wrong with sword cultivators? Sword cultivators can only come forward at critical moments to protect the ancient alchemist. Senior Kai's swordsmanship is very powerful. I don't know how many sword cultivators in Bazhu have been beaten by him. Beat, I thought. Is Senior Qi an ordinary sword cultivator? That's right, the ancient alchemist is a model among alchemists, and Senior Qi is also a model among sword cultivators. Is there anyone more worthy of them? The alchemist camp and the sword cultivator camp were about to fight over this topic, and the other people, Xiu and Yao Xiu, were sweating when they heard it. Guyao is a mascot on this occasion. After a few words of encouragement to the participating alchemists, he handed over the presiding job to Elder Xiang, and then sat on the side as a quiet audience to see if there were any good seedlings to choose from, to be added to the Alchemy Alliance. The establishment of branch alliances in various states requires a large number of alchemy masters, and local alchemists should also encourage them to go out and communicate with others. The alchemy competition lasted for a whole month. The results of the competition were very happy. The elders of Lingzhou felt that their local alchemists performed well, and their lead in alchemy could still be maintained. The elders from other states were also quite satisfied. There are still some good seedlings who can play with Lingzhou alchemists. It is no longer the situation where Lingzhou alchemists are the dominant family. I believe that in the next few sessions, the proportion of foreign alchemists will continue to increase. Although the pill art competition only lasted for a month, the excitement of Pill Immortal City has been maintained for nearly half a year. The monks from various states who came to watch this event have left one after another. The alliance and all parties reached a relatively satisfactory agreement. After sending the last batch of guests, Guyao also breathed a sigh of relief. Although he considers himself a mascot, the mascot also needs to come forward. Some forces are coming for his face, and he cannot hide behind his back. Don't ask. Guyao took Chi Changai's hand without any image and poured a large cup of spiritual tea, which happened to be seen by Su Chen, who came in, and he couldn't stop staring at him. I really should let outsiders see what this alliance leader looks like, and see if they will support you unprincipled. Guyao rolled his eyes indecently. Senior, you have to say it outright jealously. How about I give this position to the senior? Don't, the ghosts see this unfortunate position. Su Chen sat down carelessly, beckoned, the teapot flew over, and he poured a cup of tea for himself and the others who came in with him. Guyao couldn't help laughing and laughing. What did he say? How could the position of the leader of the alliance be unlucky? By the way, senior, what are your plans? Although Su Chen has been seen as idle in the eyes of others in the past few years, he wandered around, just not doing his right job, but Guyao has been sitting steadily in the position of the leader of the alliance for the past few years. In fact, Su Chen is the greatest contributor. Without him, there would be no Master Su, and Master Liao Su is the needle of the sea-fixing god. No matter how thick-skinned Guyao is, he is too embarrassed to keep Master Su here, and Dan Alliance also does not pay Master Su a salary. He is simply a free bodyguard, the most advanced kind. What about yourself? Su Chen picked up a spiritual fruit and gnawed it. Guyao glanced at Chi Changjai and said, I don't have anything to do with me anyway, I want to retreat for a while. Su Chen nodded, it's time to retreat, your cultivation is too low. If it's not a special period, see who will serve you as the leader. Su Chen poured some cold water from time to time. When you retreat, we will also go out. Going around, Ling Zhou is just a slap in the face, and I'm tired of staying for so long. Guyao dripped sweat, and was used to Su Chen's words. Then senior doesn't want to do something in the Alchemy Alliance. Anyway, in addition to Master, Senior is also a legitimate elder of my alliance leader. For example, Senior can get a branch leader. Su Chen almost choked the kernel into his throat, pointed at Guyao while coughing, and asked Su to accuse Guyao, an unfilial junior for him, but Lu Su was a quiet wallflower, smiling as if it has a common language with Chi Changjai. Bah, don't even think about making me a white worker for you, don't do it. Su Chen dropped these two words, pulled Su to turn around and left, and Su gave the two of them a Buddha salute with a smile. The two walked away. Chi Changjai saw Guyao's squinting eyes as if he was calculating something, and couldn't help laughing. What are you thinking about? He wouldn't really be thinking about Su Chen. Guyao laughed twice. I think Senior is the most soft-hearted person and the one who supports me the most. Let's not talk about it. Let's tidy up and prepare to retreat. There is no disobedience in the long night. Guyao said that he was in retreat, which caught the elders of the Pill Alliance by surprise, and Guyao also left a message. If there is any undecided matter, you can ask Su Chen. Su Chen means his mean. The leader of the alliance is really closed. Yes, it is the retreat in Dangxian's relics mansion, with fellow deist Qi. Every time the leader of the alliance does something unexpected, there are always people who think that the leader of the alliance will be dazzled by sitting in this position, but the leader of the alliance simply leaves it in retreat. Although the leader is young and inexperienced, his mind is calmer than anyone else's. This is the most valuable thing. The leader is destined to go farther than us in the future. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 534. This time, the retreat place of Guyao and Chi Changjai was in the Pill Pavilion. It turned out that Guyao never practiced in the Pill Pavilion space because he did not want to compete with the spiritual plants in the spiritual field. This time, the Pill Pavilion was opened separately. On the first floor of the training space, the spiritual energy in it is extremely pure, but also extremely rich, and it feels like the cultivation level is rising when you take a breath. 1 day of cultivation inside is equivalent to the achievements of more than 10 days outside. The black cat cub and the sea belt moyu, now they stay in the space and don't want to go out. Guyao opened a pond for moyu, which is full of sea water. The cub took Zi Bao Bao around in the space. Guyao saw that he had gained a lot of weight, and he didn't know how many good things he ate with Zi Bao Bao. Every time I enter the space, I feel that it expands a little bit. Now this space is boundless. If it wasn't for Zi Bao Bao to help, the various spiritual grasses in the spiritual field would have been chaotic long ago, and it seems that they are still growing in an orderly manner. There are also groups of fruit trees. The whole mountain is full of various spiritual fruit trees. The amount is too large to be consumed by a few people, so Guyao specially found a few brewing recipes and handed them over to Zabao Bao. The spirits brewed by Zabao Bao fruit wine is very popular. Guyao played with Sang Xiao for a long time, while Qi Changjai looked at a jade slip that Master Su gave him. "What's inside?" Guyao asked curiously. Qi Changjai's consciousness withdrew from the jade slip, flipped the jade slip in his hand, and said, "Do you remember hearing about the fragments that fell from the fairy land before?" "Yeah." "Is this information recorded in the jade slip?" "Yes." Qi Changjai nodded and said, "Master Su asked us to prepare. The fragment to be opened next time is the best and largest of the few known so far. There is a big chance in this piece of debris, and the promotion is successful. It would be a pity to miss it." Guyao agreed. "Then let's go to participate. Let's go, retreat." Guyao was gearing up, confidently pulling Qi Changjai to practice. He naturally knew that participating in this kind of fragmentation opening, personal strength is very important. They are especially him, the current cultivation base. If you want to participate in grabbing the opportunity, it is still a little short. A bad thing is to go in and act as cannon fodder. The impetus to not admit defeat came up, and he wanted to strive for the top. There is no time in practice, and time passes without knowing it. In the past, I was troubled by all kinds of things. Once I calm down, it will be 10 or 20 years. During the intermission, I will organize the Lingtian Lingzi together with Zi Bao Bao, study the classics of alchemy, and then refine the alchemy. The spiritual energy in the training space will become more and more intense. This kind of spiritual energy will not have erysipelas when absorbed, so Guyao let go of his hands to play to the fullest. Anyway, some spiritual grasses in the space are about to flood into a disaster. Under such circumstances, Qi Changjai took the lead in reaching the peak of fit, and his understanding of space allowed him to touch the barrier of the Mahayana period, so he became very leisurely, not drawing space-splitting talismans and other spiritual talismans, or picking them tea and spirit fruit, watching Zi Bao Bao fry spirit tea and make spirit fruit wine, enjoy the most comfortable time. When Guyao wakes up from the meditation, he will also pull him to double cultivation. Compared with the busy days before, this taste is simply amazing. The top floor of the pill pavilion actually has no elixir at all, not even a half elixir. I don't know why there were rumors like that. After the last time it was exhausted, I waited for the next time Guyao refined it and added it, but at present, Guyao's strength is not even thought of. Although there is no elixir and magic medicine left on the top floor, there is one thing that is extremely precious, and that is the experience of alchemy and cultivation of Senior Dangxian himself. Guyao is amazed every time he looks at it. His cultivation level rose rapidly with each meditation. Wood. There are more and more young alchemists joining the Alchemy Alliance, which makes the atmosphere in the Alchemy Alliance more and more active. Perhaps Guyao has made a good start. Strive for contribution points, so as to exchange precious books and alchemy from the Alchemy Alliance. With the full support of Dingxian Pavilion, the Alchemy Alliance established its first branch in Fengzhou. Whether it is an elder or an alchemist, they all have corresponding contribution points. For alchemists whose contribution value is always in a state of scarcity for them, there is still a need to fight for the places in the sub-alliance, and those who can't grab it are already actively fighting for the establishment of the next sub-alliance. Dan League did not rush to spread out the stall, but waited until the Fengzhou branch was on the right track before proceeding with the following actions. Looking at the information passed by the Fengzhou branch, they were very satisfied with the elders. It is worth mentioning that there are also a certain number of alchemists in this state, which is a good start for the elders of this state. Is there still no movement in the retreat of the leader? The leader has been in retreat for a long time this time. Yeah, how many times have I missed a small alchemy competition and a big alchemy competition? Fortunately, the leader left his shadow. Play it every time as encouragement. Mentioning this, some elders laughed and shook their heads. In fact, think about it, there is no more suitable identity than Guyao to become the leader of the Dan League. Now, with half of the elders in the local and foreign states, no matter who sits in this position, most people cannot be satisfied. Guyao's identity is relatively special. Not only has he inherited the alchemy technique of Senior Dangxian, he has some origins in Lingzhou, but he is not a native of Lingzhou. Every time the two factions quarreled too fiercely, everyone would miss the leader of the alliance. If the leader of the alliance was there, the differences between them would definitely be easier to resolve. It's been more than 130 years since we were in seclusion. This time the leader and fellow Daoist Qi have gone out of the seclusion, and their cultivation will definitely increase. Their cultivation talent is really good. The Pill Pavilion is still somewhat useful. As the owner of the Pill Pavilion, the alliance leader will definitely benefit from it. Since the Pill Pavilion came back, the Danyu baptism in the UFO has benefited all the pill masters who entered. Haha, which master still doesn't leave something for his apprentice? Everyone smiled and quickly brought the topic back. Have you got the news? The Shuiya fragment is about to be opened. If the alliance leader and Daoichi don't go out, they will not be able to catch up with the Shuiya fragment this time. This is a rare opportunity. If the alliance leader and Daoichi can, both of them are Mahayana, and the confidence to go in will be even greater. The last time this shard was opened was 2000 years ago. Time flies so fast. Suddenly there was a frown to the elders, they looked at each other, quickly flashed, and then they all met in the Dan Immortal Relic Mansion. There was movement in the Dan Immortal Relic Mansion. It should be Guyao and Qi Changjai who have left the customs. Sure enough, when they came, they saw Guyao and Qi Changjai who hadn't shown up in all these years. The elders were about to come forward to congratulate them. It was found that Qi Changjai was surging with sword energy, which was a sign of a breakthrough. Guyao also saw them, and bowed his hands to everyone. Elders, when Big Brother is going to transcend the calamity next night, the Alchemy Alliance is still handed over to the elders. The leader of the alliance is very relieved. Haha, hard work everyone. The next moment, Master Lixu suddenly appeared in the UFO. All the elders immediately understood that Guyao had invited Master Su to protect the robbery for Qi Changjai. This standard is really high enough. How many people in this spiritual world can be invited? Move this mighty. Before leaving, Guyao threw out a storage ring and left a message. I made some medicinal pills during the retreat, and I will leave it to the elders to watch and deal with it. After speaking, the person has disappeared and was taken away by Master Su. I took the storage ring from the elder, and my spiritual sense went in. My good fellow, there are quite a lot of medicinal pills in it. I don't know how much these medicinal pills can be worth the contribution value of the Alchemy Alliance. Is the ally. Although Guyao and Qi Changjai didn't show up in front of the public, they flashed by in front of the elders. However, the news of his exit spread throughout the city in a short time. Along with the news, Qi Changjai was about to cross the calamity. The public was in an uproar. If the calamity is successful, then Qi Changjai is a Mahayana monk. How many such young Mahayana monks are there in the entire spiritual world? Who would dare to say that Qi Changjai, a rude swordsman, is not worthy of the leader? The young sword cultivators who have been sparring with Qi Changjai many times are also very excited. Chi Changjai is rushing ahead of them to cross the calamity again, so can't he slow down? They are going to be scolded by the elders of the division, because they are lagging behind the wild sword cultivator Chi Changjai. Lai Hu thought that his strength had grown very fast over the years, and was just about to wait for the guy Chi Changjai to get out of the customs and find him to fight him back. Yan Yuanjing drew his sword and looked over coldly. Want someone to learn from? Come on. Lei Hu wanted to cry but had no tears. He felt that if he continued to spar with Yan Yuanjing, he would soon catch up with him. What does it mean to be more frustrated and more courageous? Just look at Yan Yuanjing. Maybe in a few years, he was about to be beaten by Yan Yuanjing, and his advantage in cultivation would also be lost. Unfortunately, there is no way to watch Daiyukai's great calamity. Xia Yuan's regretted looking for Master Su to protect the law. In addition to Master Su, the only onlookers were Gu Yao and Su Chen. Inc. 11. All. Reason. Gu Yao and the others retreated, and Su Chen was not idle. His clothes were fluttering, and his fairy rhyme was very small. He was already a Mahayana monk, and no one knew when he would cross the calamity. Look at it. You should hurry up too. When this guy Chi Changjai has finished his calamity, you should call him a senior. Gu Yao's black line. As soon as Su Chen opened his mouth, the immortal aura disappeared. I think the seniors are distressed that the master has waited too long, so let's practice hard and wait for the ascension. Take it down. It's not a matter of a year or two for his cultivation base to suppress. I think he can't wait any longer. Anyway, Fei. Ascension to the upper realm. Do you think that he and I will ascend to the same place? How do you say that? Gu Yao asked in surprise. I am an immortal, he is a demon. Of course, I flew to the immortal world, and he flew to the upper demon world. This is the common sense of monks. Don't be stupid when you practice alchemy all day. But the good thing is that the immortal demon world in the upper realm is the ones that communicate with each other are not isolated, and they can still meet them someday, but the cultivation base is low, so let's just stay at the place of ascension. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 535. Many monks in Dangxian City bet on the chances of Chi Changjai's success in transcending the robbery. Fortunately, they have to give the Dan Alliance leader a bit of face, and they didn't open the bet openly, otherwise the leader would come back and learn about this situation, an unhappy blockade. For their supply of medicinal pills, it would be a disaster. In Dangxian City, compared to Gu Yao, Chi Changjai's light is a little weaker, even if Chi Changjai's cultivation is higher than Gu Yao, but in Dangxian City, everyone values alchemy. Even if he has experienced after a catastrophe, it is difficult to correct this view from the root. Therefore, although I know that Chi Changjai's cultivation base is not weak, I feel that the cultivation time is too short. Is it too rushed to go to the calamity in such a hurry? Is it so easy to get through the great vehicle? How many cultivators are stuck in the stage of integration, and those who are more cautious think that Chi Changjai is cultivating fast, relying on Gu Yao's medicinal pills to help, so the foundation must be unstable, and it is very dangerous to cross the calamity. Fortunately, they said these words in private, otherwise the sword cultivators of the Bizhu sword sect would hear them and have to pull them out to practice their skills. The foundation is unstable? Can the unstable foundation defeat all the monks of the famous sword sect? Doesn't that mean that these famous sword cultivators all have a false reputation? I haven't seen Chi Changjai and Gu Yao returning to Pill Immortal City, but there is actually a rumor circulating in the city that Chi Changjai failed to cross the robbery, and the rumor was so realistic, as if he saw the scene of the failure of the robbery with his own eyes. But half a year later, Gu Yao and Chi Changjai both appeared in the Dan Immortal Relics mansion. Members of the Dan Alliance elders came to congratulate them. When they saw Chi Changjai with a deeper breath, the elders were in a complicated mood. Of course, the elders are all Mahayana monks, but how much effort they put into cultivate to Mahayana, and how many years they practiced, but how old is Chi-Chang-Jai? After watching Chi-Chang-Jai, his eyes turned to Guyao again, and he exclaimed to the elders and others, the alliance leader has also entered into a fusion, and it is not far from crossing the calamity. The alliance leader is indeed talented and loved by the world. Yeah, the leader's alchemy skills should also be advanced, and enter the ranks of second-rank alchemists. One by one, they put the protagonist Chi-Chang-Jai aside, and surrounded Guyao with praise, letting Tianfirong and Fatty, who came to see them when they came back, gave Chi-Chang-Jai a sympathetic look. Chi-Chang-Jai folded his arms and stood aside. He didn't expect these elders any longer. Besides, they praised Guyao, and he was also honored. No matter how good Guyao was, he was also his Taoist companion. The younger generation and disciples and grandchildren, have never had the opportunity to dig his corners in this life. Don't think that he didn't see regret in the eyes of these elders, isn't it just regret that there is no chance? Guyao was a little embarrassed to be praised. His cultivation progressed so fast this time. Most of the credit is attributed to the cultivation space in the Pill Pavilion, and the rest is due to the double cultivation with Chi-Chang-Jai, who cultivated in the realm of Chi-Chang-Jai. All are above him, so his cultivation and realm are also slowly rising. Where, the elders have worked hard these days. Haha, we old guys will not disturb the gathering of the leader and friends, let's say goodbye first. A group of elders left together again, and they were still full of emotion along the way. These two people are talented, and they will become the great masters of transcending tribulation in the future and ascend to the immortal world. It is just around the corner, but some of these old guys are old enough. It is difficult to count on the robbery period, and ascending to the immortal realm is a long way off for them, but now they are committed to developing the Dan Alliance, which also makes them feel that they have found their goal. There are two elders who have been stuck in the bottleneck for a long time and cannot move. In recent years, the bottleneck seems to have loosened. This is a big surprise for them. Related. It is this basic idea, even if it is only 1 in 10,000, they are more motivated to develop and expand the Pill Alliance. By the way, I forgot to mention the Shuiyu fragment to the leader. I wonder if the leader and fellow Daoist Chi are interested, and the elder suddenly remembered it. The elder Xiang frowned, although the leader of the alliance has cultivated a great progress, for the leader of the alliance, the shards of entering the water moon are still very dangerous. He actually does not agree with the alliance leader going to the Shuiyu fragment. If it is not good, their alliance leader will be broken into the debris. Although the new Dan alliance has gradually been on the right track, Guyao has been in retreat for hundreds of years, and he has not asked the Dan alliance. But there is still a big difference whether there is such a person or not. In other words, the current alchemy alliance needs Guyao, the leader. Elder Sang said, I'm afraid it's too late to say this to Elder Xiang, you have forgotten who is the guardian of Daoist Kai's crossing the calamity. Master Liao Su must have known about the opening of the Shuiyu fragment before us. It is very likely that I have already told the leader and fellow Daoist Chi. I think Master Su values the two of them. The leader and the others are going to break into pieces, and Master Su should give them some protection. Xiang Elder thinks about it too. If Master Lixu takes action, the safety of the leader and Chi-Chang-Jai can be enhanced a lot. When Chi-Chang-Jai and Guyao came back, they also went to Bizhu. Guyao wanted to persuade his uncle and Zhouhu to come to Lingzhou together, but these two were obviously too comfortable in Bizhu and were reluctant to leave. Yao didn't force it, but left a lot of medicinal herbs and other cultivation resources for his uncle and Zhouhu, including the life-saving material of the sky-splitting talisman. I heard that the people from the Nanzhou Palace also participated in the original incident. Yinhua was very concerned about the original incident. If it wasn't for his limited strength, he and Zhouhu would have rushed to Lingzhou to help early in the morning, but their cultivation base would when you get there. It's good not to say help, not to hold you back. Chi-Chang-Jai nodded, When cleaning up afterwards, I found a few monks from the Gong family. Not only are those guys dead, but the life of the Gong family is not easy now. The Nanzhou Gong family is on the blacklist of the Dan League. Other forces in Nanzhou are eager to squeeze the Gong family out, so that they can get greater benefits, so even if they did not deliberately inquire, they also learned that the Nanzhou Gong family's influence continued to grow. Shrinking, now who doesn't know that the people of the Gong family have offended Gu Yao's uncle? The Gong family's vision is really not good. Although the Shuiyu fragment is moving, it has not yet officially opened, so after leaving the customs, Gu Yao acted as a mascot several times to participate in the activities of the Alchemy Alliance, and discussed the alchemy technique with the elders. No difference. His second-rank alchemist level has also been recognized by the Alchemy Alliance, so there are people who want to visit him every day from the outside world, and many young alchemists want to take luck to become Gu Yao's disciple. Even though Gu Yao never said anything, I mentioned the matter of accepting apprentices, but everyone with a discerning eye knows that once you become a direct disciple of Gu Yao, it is almost equal to one step to the sky. Not to mention the promotion of status, you can also become the direct descendant of Senior Dangxian. This title is enough to make people envious and jealous. At first, Gu Yao didn't understand why an alchemist bumped into his front, but after someone else explained it, he suddenly realized that he couldn't laugh or cry. He was not interested in accepting apprentices, but under the repeated urging of the Presbyterian Church, he held several major classes in the Alchemy Alliance. Once the news came out, many alchemists from other places rushed to Dangxian City desperately. When the class started, when Gu Yao looked around, all he could see was a black head. After 10 alchemy classes were held in a row, Gu Yao finally gave up. The elders all came to help maintain order. In fact, they were secretly following other alchemy masters. It was the first time Bai Jing taught alchemy in such a systematic way. It is also the best way to get a glimpse of Gu Yao's Dan Dao, and every elder has a lot of insight after listening to it. This venue was later reserved and it became a special place for the alchemists to teach. Qi Changjai and Gu Yao were sitting in the garden of the Dangxian Relics mansion and sipping spirit fruit wine. They suddenly sensed the surging spiritual energy between heaven and earth, and the two immediately stood up. The next moment, Master Liao Su appeared beside them with Su Chen. "Master, have you started?" "Yes, I'll take you there." Master Li Su waved you and rolled up the two and took them away together. The elders of the Dan Alliance also sensed the change. When they came to see Gu Yao, they found that the others were no longer there. Needless to say, the leader of the alliance would definitely not miss this opportunity. Everyone, don't be impatient. The opening of the fairyland fragment this time. Although there are many crises, it is also the next big opportunity. Whether you should go to the fragment or not depends on your own wishes. That is to say, if you want to go, you need to deal with the things in your hand first, and it is not too late to set off. After all, once you go in, you can't come out in a short time. Before the shard was about to open, most monks in the spiritual world could sense it, so during this time, the business of pills in Pill Immortal City was also very good. Many pills from the Pill Alliance were looted. It can be said that Gu Yao gave it to Pill when he left the customs. The batch of medicine pills from the Alliance was very timely, so when Gu Yao and the others returned from the calamity, the elders also handed over a batch of rare spirit grass and a large pen of spirit stones to Gu Yao. In just a few days, Dangxian City was emptied of many cultivators, and even some cultivators of spirit transformation and void refinement rushed over to see if they could get in. Maybe they could hit great luck. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai stood beside Master Su, and of course Su Chen was on the other side. After they came, Gu Yao and the others learned that Su Chen wanted to enter the debris with them. This was what Su Chen asked himself. Where did Lu Su get him? So it is necessary to form a group with Qi Changjai and Gu Yao. Although Gu Yao has no Mahayana yet, Lu Su also knows that he still has some skills, especially the Pill Pavilion. It might be a lifesaver. Su Chen looked at the crowded heads in the sky and the ground, and said with emotion, "There are so many people here, but most of them are going in to die." Gu Yao's forehead is full of black lines, let others listen to it, and now I don't dare to beat Su Chen. When the fragments are in, the opportunity will come. They already know that the Great Tribulation transcendence cannot enter the fragments, and the cultivation base is too high, which will cause the fragments to collapse prematurely. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 536. The higher the cultivator, the sooner he can sense the fluctuations that the fragments are about to open, so Master Liaoxu and the others are the first batch. The waiting time, Gu Yao and the others, have heard a lot about the popularization of knowledge about this fragment. Just like the spiritual world, sometimes the two great powers will be turned upside down, the sky will collapse, and some fragments will be involved in the turbulent flow of space, but this kind of most of the fragments cannot survive for a long time, and will be shattered by space storms and return to chaos. The immortal world will also produce debris and get involved in the space turbulence due to various situations, and the ability to resist space storms will be stronger. However, because it is separated from the laws of heaven and earth in the immortal world, it cannot form its own way of heaven, so the drifting time is too long. No matter how complete the fragments are, they will gradually collapse. Some tribulation powers in the spiritual world sense the fragments of the fairy world that are closer to the spiritual world. At this time, they will call friends, gather the tribulation powers, and try to drag the fragments around the spiritual world, so that the fragments are attached to the spiritual world. In addition, the fragments will gradually adapt to the laws of heaven and earth in the spiritual world, and will no longer face the situation of collapse at any time. Larger fragments need everyone to take action together. If smaller fragments are caught, maybe one person can solve them. Refining the fragments into one's own small secret realm is of great benefit to the practice of transcending the calamity. No matter how degraded the immortal energy is, the quality is much higher than the spiritual energy in the spiritual world. Gu Yao was fascinated when he heard it. As far as he knew, many of the materials for the semi-elixir refined by the master came from such places. Although the quality was degraded, it was far superior to the first-grade spirit grass, and the master also left behind a small secret realm. Yes, before the opening time, it has been divided by several major forces in Dangxian City in the past few years, and some of the spiritual grasses growing in it are very rare. But after that, I poured a lot of cold water on them. Every time the water and moon fragments are opened, the monks who go in are lucky to be able to come back. There are also many Mahayana monks left inside. Beasts and insects may hide fatal dangers, so you must not be negligent after entering. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai glanced at each other, their eyes were a little more solemn, and they could imagine that behind the huge gains, there would definitely be a corresponding price. The two looked down, and several cultivators were also grinding their fists. They wanted to explore the Shuiya fragment forever, and their voices could reach the ears of several people. It would be great if I could find an elixir. Some elixir can make cultivators turn into immortals immediately. I don't have an elixir. It's better to find a half-piece fairy weapon. With the fairy tool, you can kill the quartet. These cultivators were excited and danced. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai silently looked away. Even if an elixir fell into their hands, they would not be able to save their lives. This thing is a life-threatening thing for them. Large swaths of clouds and mists rolled up in the air, and before the exit was exposed, one could feel the extremely rich spiritual energy from these clouds and mists, and many cultivators showed excitement. Suddenly, a golden light formed in the middle of the cloud and mist, and the light became more and more intense, until finally a golden space door was formed. Finally opened, let's go. The moment the space door appeared, Several rainbow lights swept there, and disappeared within the space door in the blink of an eye. As soon as there is a forerunner and it is safe, the back is like dumplings, and they rush towards the space door, giving people the illusion that they are about to burst the space door, but no matter how many people, they will appear in front of the space door. Extremely small. Not all cultivators were impatient. Many people came to say hello to Guyao Chi Changjai, Leihu, and Xia Yuan's also came. A sword energy passed by, and the sword demon and Yan Yuanjing also appeared near Su. Glancing at the people in Chi Changjai, he said, "Be careful when you go in." After speaking, he threw 3 sword talismans at random. Guyao, Chi Changjai, and Su Chen were together. The sword talisman sealed the 3 sword chi of the sword demon, which made Leihu and Xia Yuan's jealous. There are a lot of things, but the best ones are not worth the sword chi sealed by the sword demon himself. Liao Su smiled, and also threw a Buddha bead to Yan Yuanjing. It's a matter of courtesy. Compared with the sword talisman with strong attack power of sword demon, Liao Su's Buddha bead is more focused on defense. Sword demon's action against Su is very satisfying. Daneng is also helpless, since he wants his disciple to go out and wander. How can he see the rainbow without experiencing wind and rain, and he is worried that if his disciple's fate is unpredictable, is it easy to accept another descendant? So it is enough to worry about not only letting him go out, but also trying to make him live longer. He worries about his disciples, and if he is wrong, he has to worry about his Taoist companions. It seems that Liao Su is no easier than him. Let's go, don't wait any longer. Su Chen flicked his sleeves and took the lead and flew out. Hashtag. The others quickly followed. There were monks who wanted to hit Su Chen and Guyao, but they only had pills on them. Medicine is enough for the monks to make a fortune, but seeing with their own eyes, the sword demon gave them the sword talisman, and they were sober all of a sudden. Just by looking at Su Chen's 2 wrists with a string of Buddha beads, you can see how nervous Master Su is towards Su Chen. There are also many people who notice that Su Chen's appearance this time is already a Mahayana practice, and his heart is sour. It's good to hug his thighs, not to mention that he is a golden thigh like Master Su. After the last disaster in Lingzhou, even Buddha the monks of Zone did not come to ask for virtual trouble anymore. When passing through the space gate, Chi Changjai and Guyao clearly felt the pulling and tearing of space power, but in the blink of an eye, they came to another space, floating in mid-air, watching this lush and lush world. There is no end at all, but in the depths of the dense forest, you can feel the palpitating breath. Some people came in with them, and then looked at a few people regretfully, turned around and escaped. There was also a call for help from a cultivator from a certain direction, and it took a long time to get in before he was in danger. In some places, the roar of the monster was heard, and just listening to the sound, it seemed that the monster was not weak. Yes, even if it is degraded, it is from the fairy world after all, and the starting point is much higher than that of the monks in the spiritual world. Even a bug or blade of grass here may kill the monk. Where are we going? Just pick a direction. I see there are few people here, so go here. Su Chen pointed in a direction. Okay, as long as you don't run to dangerous places, which direction makes no difference to everyone. The group of people flew slowly in the air. Along the way, they saw a lot of spirit grass and spirit fruit trees. They looked very ordinary spirit fruit, but the spirit energy was also very strong. But none of them stopped. Just kidding, there are a lot of birds, beasts, and insects here. If there is no problem, why don't the birds pick up the insects? They were all far away, and there were screams behind them. When everyone looked back, they saw a monk who was tightly entangled by several vines and could not break free, and his breath was getting weaker and weaker. Those vines at the top, it is not bearing the spirit fruit full of aura. The screams for help came to an abrupt end, and a fit cultivator lost his life in a short time. The culprit was not the seductive spiritual fruit. Guyao felt that his back was sweaty. At that time, He deliberately watched more at a glance. I felt a little suspicious, so I didn't stop. Sure enough, it's not easy to get along, Su Chen said with emotion, but it made Lei Hu and the others laugh. In their opinion, even Su Chen said it was not easy to get along, and the others would not think about it. The spiritual energy here is also richer than that of the heavenly paradise in the spiritual world. Not to mention the harvest of other opportunities here. Just do nothing, just stay here for a few years and take a good retreat, and the cultivation base can be greatly improved. But no one is willing to spend all their time in retreat. It is very likely that a first-grade spirit grass can be found anywhere here, and no matter how lucky you are, you may be able to encounter a half-immortal grass or even a fairy elixir. Of course, in Guyao's view, if there is no protection of the formation that stops time, even the elixir will become a waste pill due to the passage of time. Besides, if the elixir is not useless, are you afraid of being burst after eating it? Can the cultivator's body withstand the medicinal power in the elixir? A bird flew in the air, swooping at them like lightning, apparently taking them as prey. Be careful, prepare for battle. Qi Changjai and the other sword cultivators immediately attacked with their swords, protecting Guyao and Su Chen behind them. Of course they didn't do anything. Guyao took out the yin-yang mirror, and the cub also stood on his shoulder, ready to attack at any time. Su Chen was holding a feather fan. Guyao could feel the palpitating power of fire from the fan. The rank of this fan would never be low. Maybe it was a half-immortal weapon from where. However, Su Chen still pulled Guyao back and took a few steps back. Seeing that Qi Changjai and several Jiangziu had already fought with Fei Niao, he said, "Let's back up and let them fight. Let's save some energy." Guyao Haizian, Senior, can you tell what kind of strength this bird is? Su Chen said, like crossing the robbery, it seems to be a little bit worse, but there is a little more. But if you take out a part of the task on this bird, it will definitely be very popular. It goes without saying that a few incomparably sharp sword chi fell on the bird's claws, as if they had hit something extremely hard, but the bird's claws were not injured. The boulder, caught and crushed. Although this bird is not weak and very difficult to deal with, Qi Changjai and the others became more and more excited the more they fought. The same is true for Qi Changjai. After breaking through to Mahayana, Lei Hu and others are no longer his opponents, and it is also a kind of object without Qi Shui. Lonely, but now the bird can let him go and fight. Suddenly, Guyao sensed an incomparably heart-pounding force from behind him. He pushed Su Chen away without even thinking about it, and called out, "Be careful." The yin-yang mirror in his hand quickly shot, and a blazing flame shot behind him. With a bang, the flames collided with a black shadow. Su Chen was furious, and there was a short-eyed sneak attacking them from behind, and the fan in his hand immediately swung out, and the shadow was immediately wrapped in raging fire. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 537. After a sword energy with a destructive aura that could cut through the space, the battle came to an end. Qi Changjai held a sword in his hand, and looked vigilantly at the few auras hidden around him. Go away. Some cultivators thought of the self-defense things that Suhi Sword Demon gave to Guyao and others, and did not dare to attack them directly, but when they saw that they were being targeted by the monsters and birds in the debris, they felt that this was a great opportunity, and waited until the other party was defeated. Now, they go up to pick up leaks. Who can blame them? Qi Changjai's reputation as a sword cultivator is not small, but a cultivator who can cultivate to the Mahayana period, who would think that he is inferior to others? What's more, Qi Changjai is only a new Mahayana monk. Can he be compared to those who have stayed in the Mahayana period for thousands or even thousands of years? But Qi Changjai's sword that hit the birds so badly shocked them, and Guyao and Su Chen's reaction power and combat power were not weak, so they left without even revealing their faces, making it clear that they didn't want to be with this crowd of people clashing head-on. Su Chen sneered, These cowards will hide in the shadows. Guyao went up to check what had just attacked them. Senior, this doesn't exactly show that they are jealous of us, it's a good thing. What is this? Is it a snake? Just like something longer than chopsticks, a pair of sharp fangs looked terrifying, and flashed with a cold light, and being bitten by surprise, it would never be so easy. Guyao thought about it, collected a little toxin and put it away. If the environment here is not too dangerous, he would really like to spend more time studying the exotic flowers and plants here. Be careful, Su Chen couldn't help but urged, this guy is too daring, he wants to study everything he sees. A few people on the other side also put away the body of the bird. Before coming in, they were reminded by the seniors that the monster meat here is very nourishing for monks. As long as you can use it, don't waste it. This kind of meat is relatively complete. The corpse will also be very popular. The few people quickly left the battle center without stopping. After a while, a few monks returned there, perhaps trying to determine their combat strength from the battle traces, but soon heard the roar of the monster approaching. And leave quickly, the smell left by the battle here will attract other monsters. As long as you pay attention, there will be no shortage of good things. Guyao has already discovered the 4th rank 2 spirit grass in a short while. He was digging spiritual grass, and Chi Changjai guarded him with a sword. Guyao was very satisfied, he put the spirit grass into the space, and said, no matter how good the conditions in the spirit world are, I haven't seen anyone who can pick a 2nd grade spirit grass at random. I don't know when we will encounter a 1st grade spirit grass. Su Chen carried it with him. Anyway, you can't use the 1st grade spirit grass, what are you picking it for? In addition to cooperating with Guyao and Su Chen to collect spirit grass, Guyao and Su Chen also cooperated with a few sword cultivators to deliberately search for the breath to fight with the monsters close to them. It can be said to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If you really can't beat it, then run away quickly. Even the fighting mad Yan Yuanjing will not have to fight hard when he knows that he is lost. There is a black leaf beside Guyao's ear, which blends in perfectly with his hair. If you don't look closely, you won't be able to find it. It's Zi Bao Bao who dressed himself up like this. With him, there is a certain range of spirit grass aura. He couldn't escape his perception, so he helped Guyao a lot. A few people sensed a strong aura in the valley not far away, and they definitely took a detour, but just as they were about to turn away, Zi Bao Bao's voice sounded in Guyao's mind, there are good things there, brother, hurry up. Guyao stopped and looked at the valley, can you sense something good? What's good for my brother is better than the previous few spirit grasses. Xiaoao, is there something good there? Chi Changjai asked this question because he knew the role of Zi Bao Bao. The thunder tigers who were just about to avoid them suddenly became excited, there's something really good. Then what other way is there to go around, rushing head on? Xia Yuan's was also eager to try, we can explore the situation there first, and don't rush to do it. Okay, I have a little thing here, you can help us find the way first. A Yinling butterfly appeared on Su Chen's fingertips. He gave instructions to the Yinling butterfly, and the Yinling butterfly flapped its wings and flew away. Several people's consciousness could not find out the whereabouts of the Yinling butterfly. Guyao looked at Su Chen, the seniors have been away for these years, and they have gotten a lot of good things outside. Also, Master Liuxu is so familiar with the spiritual world that he doesn't even take Su Chen to the place where there are good things. Yin Lingdi went to investigate the situation, and several people also approached the valley cautiously, hiding their breath as much as possible to avoid alarming the monsters in the valley too early. A flash of light was sent to Su Chen, which was sent by Yin Lingdi, and Su Chen's eyes showed surprise after receiving the message, it's really good. Something. There is a 10,000-year-old green wood vine growing in the valley, and there are 6 green mysterious fruits on it. We are just enough for 1 person per person. Lei Hu gasped, is it really that azure profound fruit that can increase your cultivation and purify your spiritual power with just one bite? Isn't this fruit a legendary one? Maybe it's the fairy fruit that degenerated into a spirit fruit, so it's rare to see it, and it can't be cultivated. Su Chen is right, the spiritual world only knows it is called Wanyan King Mu Vine. In fact, in the spiritual world, it is called Wanyan King Mu Vine, and it can only bear fruit after 10,000 years. The fruit of the Wanyan King Mu Vine that lives in the spiritual world is also constantly degraded. After a few times, the fairy vine completely lost its efficacy. A few people led the way with Su Chen, and from high in the sky, they saw the fresh breath coming out of the fog in the valley. The fog seemed to have the effect of isolating the breath. When they got here, they realized that there was really good stuff down there. If it wasn't for Gu Yao's reminder, it would be maybe I missed it because I was afraid of the monsters inside. Chi Changjai turned his hands and took out the 8 diagrams locking spirit formation array, and made a sound transmission with everyone. Everyone nodded unanimously. It is better to block the breath here first, lest they be beaten by other monks when they are exhausted from fighting monsters here. Extracted their results. The current Bagua locking spirit formation has been processed and improved by Fatty, and its performance is better than when he first obtained it. Chi Changjai swept into the air and knocked down the array one by one. His movement was naturally exposed, and the monsters in the valley immediately roared. Do it, don't let the monsters destroy the formation of fellow deist Chi. Xia Yuans withdrew from hiding and ordered. Several figures were exposed above the valley, and the monsters in the valley rushed out, roaring even louder, and the monks in the distance didn't think it was different. Didn't they just encounter a monster? Either you died or you died. The end of my death, and some people know that this is the direction that Chi Changjai and the others are going. The monks who have seen their combat effectiveness do not want to fight with him unless the benefits are too great. It can be seen that the fog in this valley is also very beneficial. Otherwise, the breath of heaven and earth treasures here will be scattered early, and I don't know how many monks will be robbed. It will definitely be a melee. The monster that rushed out below was a liger, looking fierce and ferocious, and several people were ready to fight. This monster was stronger than any of them they had dealt with before. This liger seemed to know that Chi Changjai was doing something unfavorable to it, so it roared and rushed towards Chi Changjai, at an amazing speed. Gu Yao took out a bow and crossbow without thinking, and the arrow came out of the string. Gu Yao, as soon as his mind moved, the arrow exploded. This is still the weapon that was obtained in the barren state, but there are not many opportunities to shoot it, but it is quite liked by Gu Yao, and it has also been processed and upgraded by someone. Although there was no way to seriously injure the liger, Gu Yao achieved his goal and blocked the guy's path. The liger was even more angry. Gu Yao was just a bug in its eyes, and the bug dared to hurt it. So he turned around and wanted to get rid of the bug first. When it was said that it was too late, it was too fast, and the great formation of Chi Changjai had already been set up, and with the sound of formation, the liger lost Gu Yao's trace. Stupid lion, look at the trick. Didn't you expect that all the monsters in the fairy world were so stupid? Seeing the liger beasts who were trapped in the big formation and swirling around in a hurry, Su Chen took the lead in attacking and laughed at the same time. His attack revealed the location of the liger, so he roared at the sound, and was hit head-on by a phoenix that rushed out. Lei Hu and Xia Yuans wiped sweat from their hearts. Who would have thought that the famous Master Su, Wan Nian waited for such a cultivator? Of course, Su Chen would definitely be bluffing if he didn't speak. There were lightning and thunder in the formation, the fire was bursting, and the sword energy was vertical and horizontal. The more they fought, the more vigorous they were, and even the black cats and cubs jumped in from time to time, scratching a few claws on the heads of the ligers, although the ligers had thick skin and rough flesh. It is difficult to pierce, but the cub's attack is not aimed at the surface, and every time the liger is scratched, the liger screams very mournfully. Guyao went to the bottom of the valley under the guidance of Zi Bao, and found the evergreen vine, and the smell alone made him almost unable to walk. "Brother, quickly pick, that stupid tiger is coming back soon." Under the urging of Zi Bao, Guyao quickly shot the rattan in his hand, rolled up the 6 fruits on it, turned around and ran away, using the formation method to hide his figure, and sure enough, after finding that the fruit was gone, the liger couldn't care about the confrontation. A few enemies turned around and rushed down, but it was still a step too late. The little thief disappeared, so angry that the liger was about to go crazy, and Chi Changjai and a few others chased after them, and then fought again. The inside was shaking and the mountain was shaken, but it was inevitable that the monks would find it outside. Because the movement was too big, when I came over, I found that the valley was blocked by the formation. Some monks felt that there must be something good inside, otherwise, it would be good. What to block? It's not that I'm afraid that others will take the opportunity to it. So a few monks attacked the formation, or wanted to obstruct the monks in the formation, or wanted to break into the formation, and the big formation began to shake. The movements of these guys outside were discovered by Chi Changjai, who was controlling the formation. They were unable to cut down the liger beast under the blessing of the formation, and there were people outside who made trouble, and a few people had the intention of retreating. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 538. The spirit fruit was already in hand, and a few people said they would retreat. Several monks who were attacking the formation outside found that the formation disappeared. Several monks suddenly jumped out of the valley and fled to the distance at a rapid speed. At the same time, and an angry liger chasing after him. One of the monks, who was close enough, failed to stop Chi Changjai and his party. Instead, the liger, who couldn't express his anger, waved his paw at him, and the man fell down with a scream, and when he fell to the ground, this man has lost his breath. It's a pity that the other monks only focus on chasing the few people in front of them, and they don't care to check the situation in the valley. Needless to say, the good things in the current situation are on the monks being chased by the ligers. This chase lasted for most of the day. On the way, Guyao and the others threw out one-time attack items several times, blocking the liger and other monks behind. After a few times, the group finally got rid of the big guy behind, and the big guy took the back. Several monks vented their anger, and only after a series of fights did they reluctantly return to their own nest. Chi Changjai and the others did not relax, and continued to move to several places. After ensuring safety, they found a relatively hidden place, and laid down layers of hidden defense formations. Guyao took out the fruit, one by one, and this thing was swallowed immediately. It is safest to convert your lower stomach into your own strength. In the battle with the ligers, they also found that their strength wanted to show off in the fragments, but they were still a little short, so it was more urgent to improve their strength. All 6 people swallowed the fruit and digested the medicinal power in the fruit. It took more than a month to enter the meditation. When they woke up and stretched their muscles and bones, they felt better than ever before. Not only the fruit, but also the spiritual energy here is really good for cultivation. January, it's worth a few years. Lei Hu said, it would be great if I had a few more, maybe I could also be able to Mahayana. Xia Yuans laughed, you think too beautifully, if it's so good, it's not the evergreen tree fruit. But this fruit really lives up to its name. Not only has the spiritual power increased a lot, but the spiritual power has also become a lot more solid. The two were talking and saw Chi Changjai and Guyao hand in hand to come out of the cave mansion with ambiguous expressions on their faces. These two people are really showing their love all the time. Yan Yuanjing also came out. Seeing that Lei Hu and Xia Yuans were eager to try, after their strength improved, they wanted to find someone to practice their skills to see how much they improved. When Su Chen came out, he stretched, as if he woke up instead of practicing. What are you looking at me for? Hurry up and leave, or the good things will be snatched away by others. Su Chen, who had benefited greatly, became more active. Yes, Gu Yao smiled, Senior is right, let's go quickly, there will be no shortage of good things. Yan Yuanjing had no choice but to go out and find monsters to practice his skills. The strength of the group has risen a lot, and the same level of monsters, if a few people attack them again, it will be much easier to deal with them than before. Although they found some good quality spirit grasses, they didn't find anything as good as evergreen green tree fruit. When they were thinking about when to get another such spirit tree, they heard the sound of fierce fighting in front of them. Several people looked at each other and decided to go and see. Half an hour later, they came to the place where the fight was taking place. They saw the monks and the monsters fighting together, and they also saw the two peak Mahayana monks they had seen before entering the shard. They suddenly became more cautious. Gu Yao suddenly stretched out his finger and pointed to a place. Look there, it's Weavua condensation, and it's a good thing that helps to break through the calamity. When everyone looked over, they saw an ordinary stone, but there was a small condensed dew that flickered and appeared, and occasionally reflected 7 colored rays of light. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief. It is no wonder that I heard that there are many opportunities in the fragments of the fairyland, and many tribulation masters are able to break through when they get opportunities in the fragments. It's a pity that the amount is too small, otherwise the two peak Mahayana monks can join forces to repel the other monks, and divide this guileless condensation equally. Let's step back first. Chi Changjai waved his hand. If they participated in the competition here, they would face the monks at the peak of the Mahayana. Rao is that this time he ate the green tree fruit to increase his cultivation a lot, but he was still a monk in the early stage of Mahayana. I'm not so confident about going to the peak of Mahayana, not to mention Gu Yao to protect. Yes, let's step back first, those two monsters are much more powerful than the previous Ligers, Xia Yuan said cautiously. Gu Yao looked around, he didn't have the idea of willing to win Weavong Ninglu, but was thinking about such a good place, maybe not only this good thing, thinking of the classics that he has read, can give birth to Weavong Ninglu the place, but the place where the essence of heaven and earth gathers, may give birth to other good things. Brother, go to the back, there are good things in the back. Zi Bao reminded in a low voice, although the fight outside wanted him to shrink back into the space. It's terrifying. Gu Yao nodded in his heart and said to the others, let's go around and have a look over there. Although Weavong condensation is a good thing, it's still early for us to use it. Gu Yao's voice was not small, and it was heard by other monks who participated in the competition, and felt that these people still had some self-knowledge. Su Chen understood what Gu Yao meant, and said deliberately, yes, even if we can get this thing, we can't take it immediately. If we put it on our body, we will only be chased and killed, so let's go. Let's go, let's go. A few people bypassed the battle center and went to the back of the mountain. In fact, the place has been inspected long ago, and there is nothing. The monks who still have the energy to watch their movements sneered in their hearts, but they didn't take it seriously. But these people don't take the initiative to participate, and they won't shoot at them for no reason. After all, the life-saving things in these people's hands are very difficult for them. After walking around, he didn't find anything good. Gu Yao couldn't help but ask Zi Bao, is there any hidden place here? He didn't think it would be wrong to feel the baby purple, so he hid it. Brother, come with me. A flash of purple light flashed, and Gu Yao felt a scent of spiritual herbs escape, and hurriedly sent a voice transmission to the other people. Chi Changjai was the first to follow, and Su Chen was not slow. Who let Zi Bao find a good place? Not far from the battle center, there was a cultivator who was watching the movements of these people from the corner of his eye, but suddenly, the figures of these people disappeared, and they were shocked. On a giant tree, nothing could be found. A few monks who were watching the battle and wanted to take advantage of the fire also discovered it. They had already searched this place, but they didn't expect someone to disappear under their noses. What is the method? That is, there is no way to find any abnormal place, and it is useless to shovel several layers here. Guyao and the others could imagine the anger of the monks behind, but they were all startled by the sight. Here, there is a medicine garden clearly hidden, and Guyao also listened to Zi Baobao explaining to him. This is arranged by special creatures, and only special creatures like Zi Baobao can sense it, otherwise it will be futile. Lei Hu pinched Xia Yuan's was furious, and Lei Hu laughed. It's not a dream, haha, we actually found a medicine garden. Is there any fairy grass here? I think you're really dreaming, immortal grass. It's impossible, Xia Yuan's mocked. Xia Yuan's was right. After all, this piece of debris was not discovered recently. The immortal energy has not degenerated, so it is very good to have the half-immortal grass. Xia Yuan's turned his head and said to Guyao and Su Chen, these spirits have not degenerated. Just leave the grass to the two alchemists, and then we can make them into pills and share them with some pills. Anyway, it's useless if we take them. Eating these spirit grasses with light can't play 1/10 of the effect, and it is still the most useful in the hands of alchemists. Besides, if it wasn't for Guyao to lead the way, they wouldn't be able to find this place at all. It seems that this place is separated from the outside by a layer of space prohibition, not a special method. Inaccessible. Guyao and Su Chen looked at them, nodded and said, all right, then we'll be welcome. Su Chen rubbed his hands as he spoke, and went forward to dig up the spirit grass. At a glance, he could see several first-grade spirit grasses, which was really amazing. There is a bamboo building in the back. Let's go and see it. I'll stay and watch it. Chi pointed to the building behind. All right, we have good things to share with you, Xia Yuan's replied, walking over with Lei Hu and Yan Yuanjing. There are restrictions all around these spirit grasses. No one else is around, and Zi Baobao is also more courageous. These restrictions are also set by a creature like them, but it's a pity that the creature didn't leave any breath. Maybe something happened earlier. Zi Baobao waved his hand and broke these prohibitions. Guyao and Su Chen just need to dig out the spirit grass. Even if there is no mature spirit grass, Guyao also sent it into the space. There are many rare spirit grasses, so that the two were extremely happy, and even with Guyao's current status as the leader of the Alchemy Alliance, some of them were difficult to obtain. It didn't take long for the three people who went to the bamboo building to come out. There was no excitement on their faces, and they didn't gain much. After coming over, Lei Hu said regretfully, it turns out that this must be the residence of an elixir master, and there are some elixir left in it. It's a pity that all elixir are discarded, but there are 2 jade slips that you may need. I think it's that elixir. The contents of the alchemy technique left by the teacher. Lei Hu didn't hide his secrets, took out the 2 jade slips, and explained, you guys be careful, there are restrictions outside the jade slips, and it is estimated that our cultivation will not be able to open for the time being. Guyao took a look at it, and as expected, he thanked Lei Hu and the 3 of them and said, after refining the medicinal pills, I will give you a little more, thank you. Haha, that's a good feeling. The medicinal pill is more effective than this jade slip. The place where they came in was always guarded by cultivators, who were unwilling to leave. In their opinion, the few cultivators who entered must have gained a lot from it. If they couldn't get in, wouldn't they come out? As long as they just sit back and wait, a few brats can't fool around. It's just that they waited left and right, and waited until the results of the competition for Wuivong Ninglu came out, but they couldn't wait for Guyao to come out, because they had already left from the other side, and Guyao and Su Chen also took time to practice during this period. A few pots of elixir, the spirit herbs in the medicine garden, are all elixir that can be used by everyone. This made Lei Hu and the others even more convinced that the spirit grass could only play its best role when it was handed over to these 2 alchemists. With 2 alchemists accompanying them, they made a lot of money. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 539. As if they were lucky before, in the next few months, a few people were tossed around. Most of the time they were chased by monsters and ran around, and sometimes they encountered monks taking advantage of the fire. Go into battle without reservation. This kind of battle is also very beneficial. The evergreen greenwood fruit and medicinal herbs that several people had taken before were continuously stimulated and absorbed by the medicinal power accumulated in the body, and the cultivation base rose steadily. After several people joined forces to kill a monster that was chasing after them, Guyao frowned. What's wrong? Is there any trouble? Su Chen stepped forward and put away the body of the monster, and asked when he saw him. The monster's corpse was not deliberately divided, but this time you collect it, next time it will be his turn to collect it. Guyao sighed and said, I'm thinking about whether I should stay here or go out for a calamity. Liu and the others were also startled, but after thinking about it, it was a matter of course. Guyao was fully formed when he entered the fragments. As long as he sensed the barrier, he could prepare to break through the calamity. With the medicinal pills refined later, coupled with the constant fighting, their strength is steadily rising. How could Guyao linger? Qi Changjai's expression became solemn. I can't break through here, there are too many uncontrollable accidents here. Let's leave the debris first. Xiaodaio, stay behind, you don't have to follow us out. When Xiaoyao has passed the calamity, we will come in again when there is time. Different from the secret realm, after the space door is opened, it will stay there forever, so you can also enter and exit halfway. Then we'll give you a ride, Xia Yuan suggested. No need, I'll go with them, but the 3 of you have to be careful. You keep these medicinal pills. Su Chen took a few bottles of medicinal pills and sent them to the 3 of them. Okay, then take care of you, Lei Hu also solemnly said. The battle all the way let them know that Su Chen's combat effectiveness is not weak. Everyone take care. Looking at the backs of Guyao and the others leaving, Lei Hu and Xia Yuans felt a little regretful. Following Guyao and the 3 was far more beneficial than their own actions, but there was no way out, so they cheered up quickly. We continued, saying maybe it will be our turn to go out to save the calamity, haha. Liu said that he was also happy, as if this tribulation was as casual and simple as eating. Su Chen's expression was much more serious on the way out. The vigilance of the 3 of them did not relax at all. The most important thing was to send Guyao out well. If he was obstructed this time, he might not be able to find the feeling so quickly next time, and break through. Difficulty will increase. This is the spirit grass we found. Hue is too deceiving, a familiar voice came from the right side. Boy, do you think this is still your pill immortal city, and everyone is letting you group of alchemists? Besides, I have heard that you and the surnamed Gu in the Pill Alliance didn't deal with it. Maybe you died here right now. If it agrees with them, it is better to hand it over honestly, otherwise I will be very welcome. As soon as his consciousness was swept away, he saw that several alchemists of Tianyun sect were surrounded by 3 demon cultivators. The alchemist who made Guyao feel familiar was not someone else but Ji Beis of Tianyun section, now in Dangxian city. His status has indeed dropped a lot, who made him struggle with Guyao, the leader of the alliance. Ji Beis himself is not as sharp as he used to be, and he was silent for a while, so that Guyao couldn't remember him without seeing him, but when he saw others bullying the alchemist in Dangxian under his nose, he also said, in that case, when he is dead. Su Chen and Qi Changjai both frowned. In fact, they didn't want Guyao to intervene in this matter, so as not to cause trouble, but they were all people who were very close to Guyao and knew his temperament. He might just stand by and watch Ji Beis and the others being bullied. So Qi Changjai deliberately exposed his aura in a single thought, and flew over there with Guyao. Who? Mahayana demon cultivator said. When Ji-Beis and the others saw the three Guyaos who showed up, they were surprised at first, but they immediately thought of their mutual stance, especially Ji-Beis. They wanted to dig a hole and bury themselves. And he couldn't be sure that Guyao would not be saved. Since their group of alchemists were besieging Guyao as soon as they entered the Pill Immortal Relics mansion, Guyao didn't personally take action against them but just stood by, which was polite enough. Get out, Chi Changai's tongue burst into thunder, his aura was full, and he directly rolled over the three demon cultivators. Chi Changai rarely has such a domineering moment, but now he just wants to solve the matter in the shortest possible time, and the Mahayana demon cultivator on the opposite side is not enough for him to solve it. What decision does the leader of this alliance have to do with outsiders? As long as he is a member of the Alchemy Alliance, he is protected by the leader of the alliance. Guyao rarely takes the air of the leader, but when it is time to agree to the outside world, he will not give others the opportunity to take advantage of it. Chance. The Mahayana demon cultivator also recognized Guyao and the three of them. He had just released the words, but he was slapped in the face unexpectedly. The combination of two Mahayana and one made it clear that these three magic cultivators were not opponents, not to mention that Chi Changai's fighting power was astonishing, and it would be no good for them to fight. The Mahayana demon Chiu gritted his teeth. Okay. The heart of the ancient alliance leader, I admire it, farewell. The three demon cultivators quickly fled away, leaving behind Ji-Beis and a few alchemists, whose faces were blue and white for a while. They didn't expect Guyao to say such a thing. Many thanks to the leader and the two seniors for helping each other. Gritting his teeth, Ji-Beis came up to thank him. I also knew Xie, but it was not saved in vain. Guyao asked, are you just coming in, or are you going out? Ji-Beis and the others exchanged opinions and said, we want to go out to rest first. Our strength is too weak, and we are targeted by those demon cultivators. This time they were rescued by Guyao, but there is no guarantee for the next time. Can escape. Exactly, let's go out for a while, let's go together. Thank you, Alliance leader. This time, the gratitude was more sincere. The three demon cultivators really looked at them from a distance, and they thought about the trouble of going to Ji-Beis and the others after Guyao and the others left, but they didn't expect them to go on the road together. In their opinion, Guyao, the leader of the alliance, is really his brain was broken, but he was helpless. When they saw the exit, Ji-Beis and the others breathed a sigh of relief. Beside Guyao, they were under a lot of pressure, and when they encountered a dangerous battle, their alchemist seemed even weaker. On the contrary, Guyao was extremely sharp every time he shot. Much beyond their expectations. They didn't know that in order to avoid the early arrival of the catastrophe, Guyao was restrained enough, and if there was anything, Chi Changai and Su Chen rushed in front. Out of the space gate, several people hurriedly thanked and said goodbye to the three of Guyao, and hurriedly flew in the other direction. The appearance of Guyao and the others also attracted the attention of the monks outside. Su, who had never left, appeared immediately. With a glance, he found Guyao's state. What's going on? Could it be that the ancient alchemist realized that it was too dangerous, so he came out early? There are also 3 sword cultivators who went with me and didn't come out. I didn't hear that their soul cards were broken. Hey, haven't you noticed that the spiritual energy in the ancient alchemist's body is about to overflow, and if you don't leave the fragment, you have to go through the calamity inside. In that kind of place, you don't know what happened, so of course you have to get out quickly. I sense the signs of a breakthrough, but now I have to cross the calamity, which shows that the opportunity is not small. Really? The ancient alchemist is about to break through the calamity? Now we need a genuine second-rank alchemist. The last time the ancient alchemist came out of retreat, he was a second-rank alchemist. Okay. Just because the soul of the ancient alchemist is so powerful, Isn't it expected that there will be this day? The place where Guyao crossed the calamity was the same as Chi-Chang-Jai. It was an uninhabited island. Later, Su Chen also crossed the robbery on this island, so the island was flattened by several layers. Has become flat. The preparations for crossing the calamity have also been made. With his current relationship with the major merchants, it is not a problem to get some formations and treasures, so looking at the tribulation clouds that continue to condense in the air, Guyao is confident. Lei Ji bombed for 10 days and 10 nights, and the momentum was so great that Su Chen was shocked to see him. He was a remodeled body. Thunder Ji was stronger than ordinary monks. The many tests are very reasonable, but Guyao's thunder tribulation is even fiercer than his. Liao Su looked at the calm figure in the center of the thunderstorm and said, "Chen Chen, you said that Xiaoao has a special physique, the ancient races have long since died out, and these surviving bloodlines cannot escape the eyes of heaven, and there will always be more tests. Look. Although the ancient races have died out, their bloodlines are still integrated into the world of self-cultivation in various ways. This is the way of life given by heaven." Su Chen nodded, "You're right, such an opportunity as Xiaoao, such a huge world of self-cultivation, I've only met him in this case. Although the world he was in was not a high level of cultivation, civilization has embarked on a different path. A road is also very unique, how lucky it is to be able to integrate these two civilizations. Although he has borrowed a lot of methods of using divine consciousness from Guyao, it still lacks a little compared to Guyao's innate talent ability. Compared to Guyao, his uncle Yinhua is also very special. If you think about such a race, if it can continue to this day, it is impossible to imagine how powerful it will be." When the clouds in the sky cleared and the light was cast, a smile finally appeared on Chi-Chang-Jai's tense face. Although he had great confidence in Guyao, when he saw Guyao's wounds being split by lightning, how could he not worry and nervous? It didn't take half a year this time. After more than 2 months, Guyao and Chi-Chang-Jai returned to the door of the space of the Shuiya fragment. The monks gathered outside looked at Guyao in surprise. It was indeed a Mahayana monk. It was extremely shocking. It seemed that he and Chi-Chang-Jai, who had advanced to a level and survived a calamity, were really eating and drinking, which made people jealous. Transmigration, First Class Immortal Husband. Author, North Wind Blows. Chapter 540. Liao Su smiled and said, "The reason why the Shuiya shard is so named is actually related to the existence of a Shuiya immortal sect in the shard, but several fellow deists in the past were unable to find the ruins of this section among the immortal treasures that came out. It is inferred that this possibility, you can give it a try. The more likely it is to find out later, because the immortal array will continue to weaken over time, and the difficulty of the immortal array is too high, but the difficulty of the half-immortal array or even the top spiritual array is relatively lower, and the sect they were all destroyed, and even the outer formation restrictions would be incomplete." Su Chen shook his eyebrows, "Then what are you waiting for? Hurry in." After saying goodbye to Su, the three passed through the space gate and returned to the Shuiya fragment again. Many cultivators who were originally watching, no longer hesitated because of the actions of the three, and flew towards the space gate together. Because since the opening of the space gate to the present, many monks have fallen inside, including Mahayana monks, so some monks hesitate to move forward, but seeing Guyao come out to cross the tribulation and go back again, this shows what? It shows that there are great benefits. Can be pictured, so it's better to rush. The news of Guyaotaji's success in becoming a Mahayana monk was also quickly spread in the spiritual world. Tianfirong and Fatty who stayed in Dangxian city were happy for Guyao, and Yinhua who stayed in Biz who was even more excited. His nephew was a Mahayana monk, and his backer more stable. He looked at Zhou triumphantly and said, "Did you hear me? My nephew is senior Mahayana. You have to be more polite to me in the future and serve me well, otherwise, Zhou was extremely helpless. Seeing that Yin Hua was about to lie down and enjoy himself, he persuaded bitterly, Xiaoao works so hard, we can't be too far behind and hold Xiaoao back. Besides, wait for Xiaoao and Qi Longya ascended to the immortal realm one day, what can we do? Can we rely on it? Therefore, it is better to rely on others than to rely on yourself. Looking at this situation, Zhou dared to say that the day when they ascended to the immortal world and left the spiritual world will not be far away, but their days in the spiritual world are still long. You bastard, can't you let me be unrestrained for a few days? Yin Hua was furious, stood up and scolded Zhou, but the next moment, as soon as his eyes darkened, he fell down. Zhou was shocked, but no matter what, the inspection could not find any symptoms. They all thought that someone had been hacked. Half a day later, Yin Hua, who was lying on the bed, woke up faintly. At this moment, Zhou was ready to take Yin Hua to Dangxian City. Gu Yao was not there. He could ask the elders of the Dan League to help him to see what was going on. The guy actually woke up again. When Yin Hua woke up, under Zhou's concerned greetings, he pressed his eyebrows, sat up from the bed, and hurriedly said, "Quick, give me a blank jade slip." "Come on, what's going on?" Yin Hua grabbed the blank jade slip that was brought in front of him, printed a picture in it, and handed it to Zhou. "Can you see it?" Zhou probed into his consciousness and found that there were some odd-shaped beasts in several non-sequential pictures, and the lethality was amazing. "You can see, what's going on? These beasts don't look like the monsters in the spiritual world. Too much the same." Yin Hua patted his chest, "It's good to see it. I just had a dream suddenly. This is what I saw in the dream. When Xiaoao comes out of the debris, I immediately send it to him. It is said that I dreamed." Zhou snorted in his heart, and became a Taoist companion with Yin Hua. He knew about his special magical powers, so, this is what the spiritual world will see in the future. A scene of life? Zhou squeezed the jade slip and said, "I see, you don't have to worry too much, the sky is falling down, and there is a tall one on it." At this moment, Li Su and Sword Demon, a few tribulation experts, also had a bad feeling in their hearts. They looked at the sky suspiciously, and they were at a loss for a while, but no one doubted this feeling. When I entered the fragments again, the number of monks I encountered on the way increased, and some of them had met before. Now I am shocked to see these three people, especially Gu Yao, because the last time I saw him, he was a combined Dachen monk, and now he is a Mahayana senior. Although there are 3 less sword cultivators in this group, it does not mean that the combat power is weak. There are 3 great vehicles and a lot of equipment on them, so most cultivators are not willing to provoke them. Buy some medicinal pills. After all, it has been in for such a long time, and the consumption of medicinal pills is quite large. The 3 of them did not stop on the way and went deep, but they found that there were still some changes before leaving. There were more monsters outside, and it seemed that all those who were hiding in their nests ran out. Could it be that the little monk said that the ruins of the Shuiyu Xianzong are about to show up? Su Chen said in surprise, "Sometimes monsters are more sensitive than people." Xiu. By the way, Gu Yao suddenly remembered, will the medicine garden we discovered earlier and the monk who left the jade slip be related to the Shuiyu Immortal sect? Qi Changjai made a final decision, then let's go in the direction of the medicine garden. Suddenly a peak Mahayana cultivator blocked their way, and the 3 of them immediately became highly alert when they saw this person. "Why are you blocking our way?" Qi Changjai asked lightly. The visitor waved his sleeves, showing an "I'm very gentle" smile to the 3 of them. "Don't worry, I won't embarrass you, I just want to trade some items with the ancient alchemist." Gu Yao vigilantly said, "I don't know what you want to trade." After being promoted to Mahayana, it is not an exaggeration to call the other party a friend. Of course, the other party is at the peak of Mahayana, and Gu Yao is not confident that he can deal with him. The visitor laughed. "Of course it is the item that the 3 fellow deists got after entering a certain space, It depends on the sincerity of Gu Alchemist. If one is satisfied, one will be very grateful to Gu Alchemist and the two fellow. Gu Yao and Qi Changjai's faces darkened immediately. Under the banner of a deal, they clearly came to rob them. Probably the other party also guessed that there must be other good things hidden in the place where there is no condensate. The delusional condensation is low, and the opponent is at this juncture, and he must be eager to break through the heavenly tribulation. Qi Changjai refused. We don't understand what you mean, what kind of medicine you want, sign up, and of course what we can trade will be traded to you, if you are deliberately embarrassed. Qi Changjai said finally, his eyes narrowed, revealing a dangerous look. As expected, the other party gently concealed and restrained himself, revealing the hideousness underneath. Humph, then one would like to meet a famous rising star for a while to see if it is a false name. As soon as he said that, the robes on his body rose automatically without wind, and the pressure belonging to the peak of Mahayana rolled towards the three of Gu Yao. At this moment, Qi Changjai said back, and the three quickly swept back, while at the same time, all kinds of means are displayed without reservation, and if they are reserved in the face of such a huge disparity in strength, they are undoubtedly going to die. Even if you can't fight, you can't make the opponent feel better. Qi Changjai's purple thunder dragon rushed out first, causing thunder to explode in the air, accompanied by black cracks. Behind the purple thunder dragon, two fire dragons followed closely. One fire dragon was intertwined in black and blue, but it was Lian Xinhuo and He Minjian shot together. This is a new function developed by the yin-yang mirror in Gu Yao's hand. The power is greatly increased on the basis of the original attack power, while Su Chen's fiery red dragon is full of red lotus karma. Breath. This monk did not expect that the three of them not only did not compromise, but also resisted when they shot, wanting to slap him. A peak Mahayana monk, especially these three attacks made him feel the slightest pressure, and he quickly shot to resist in despair. Boom boom boom. The blasting sound was earth-shattering, causing a lot of waves in the debris. The nearby monks stopped their movements and looked there. Seeing the three sharp attack methods, many people guessed the monk's identity and which monk was this. Are you eyeing these three guys? How dare! When the monk surnamed Wan rushed out of the blasting center and wanted to attack the three of Gu Yao, he only grabbed a shadow of them, because after the strongest attack method, Qi Changjai took out the air-splitting talisman. Su Chen and Gu Yao quickly meeting with him. After the air-splitting talisman was activated, the three disappeared in the eyes of the monk surnamed Wan. The monk surnamed Wan was furious, especially the cold and stern eyes that stared at him before Qi Changjai disappeared, which can make people tremble. A monk who has only stepped into the Mahayana stage for a long time, dared to threaten his old senior. Angry there was nowhere to vent, and the flowers, plants, rocks around him suffered, and explosions occurred frequently, but then came the angry roar of the monster. Now everyone found out who the cultivator was. It turned out to be the old guy Wan Lihong. This old guy hasn't died yet, but he actually came into the debris. He is trying to find the last chance to break through. No wonder he did everything possible to attack the three ancient alchemists. Who is this old guy? Why do you say that? You don't know? That's right, this old guy has been in seclusion for so many years. I'm afraid he's only heard a few ears about the ancient alchemist and the others, and didn't take them seriously. The old guy has lived long enough, if he doesn't break through again. Xiao Yuan is almost at the end. At this time, the pieces of the Shuiyu are open, and I can't wait to come in to fight for this last chance. If there is no chance here, he will be stuck in the peak stage of Mahayana in this life, and there is no hope of transcending the tribulation. It turns out, no wonder it's so shameless. Yeah, in fact, Gu Alchemist and the others are the most slippery. Have you seen that void-splitting talisman? The ancient alchemist was Mrs. Liu who saved the glazed light trading company. Using it, coupled with the other protective things that the Great Tribulation Transcendence can give, it is not so easy to keep them. It is the attack method just now, and it is not comparable to ordinary monks in the early stage of Mahayana. It has not been long before the ancient alchemist broke through. What is the matter with the mirror in his hand and the black and blue flames? I actually felt a great threat from it. Everyone talked a lot, and they were also curious about the treasures and attack methods used by Guyao. The space-splitting talisman is not directional, not to mention that in this fragment, the stability of the space in the fragment is not as stable as the outer spiritual world, otherwise the great power of transcending tribulation will not be restricted and cannot enter, so when it is activated, chi change there's no guarantee where they'll end up, and they might end up in more dangerous situations than before.